What had happened to get you in such a foul mood, Your Highness? Archer looked at Morgan, standing by her as she had ordered him to follow her throughout the day. When following her around, he noticed that Morgan is quite busy, actually. She goes on to check on things and a few meetings from here and there. No wonder why she seems so pent up most of the time. She's got the duty of a king in the end. Just like her sister, she too is a king. Despite wanting to be referred to as a queen, though he noticed her mood was sour when she got that note from Artoria. None of your concern, familiar. Morgan replied as she drank from her tea. Her feet rest on the table as she yawns. You know it's rude and unhygienic to put your feet on the table. I am a god for crying out loud. I do as I wish. Morgan retorted at Archer, who only sighs. Technically, she does possess power that he can consider that of a god. He's seen such power firsthand and more. Demon Lord, God, King, Queen, Queen. You have such titles, Your Highness. Of course, someone perfect like me is quite famed. Yeah, by mostly the hatred of humans, Archer said sarcastically. Silence! I will not allow my familiar to bad-mouth me. But yes, I suppose you can say that I'm quite in a bad mood due to something that's happening soon, Morgan said, who cuffs into her hand. It's that time of the decade again, she dupting. Archer raises a brow in confusion at what she meant, but didn't speak as he understood that it's best to learn eventually on his own. Not wanting to pry much and give Morgan an even worse mood. Sigh, headaches, the lots of them, Morgan said coldly as the table cracked with ease when she slammed her foot onto it. Archer winces as he sensed the unyielding rage that came from his master, causing him to silently back up without her noticing. Perhaps you would like a refill of your tea. That way you can calm down a bit, Archer suggested. Morgan remained quiet, taking a sip of the tea, and hummed. Yes, I suppose I would like that, Morgan said, tossing the teacup effortlessly at Archer, who caught in. She would not admit it out loud. But she's holding herself back from exploding in satisfaction and happiness. The flavor of the tea is amazing, and it explodes in her mouth and stomach. She watched as Archer left for the kitchen, closing her eyes as her gaze lowered down to the table, taking her legs off of it and tapping the table. Runes formed as the table got repaired, nothing Magecraft can't handle. Oh, today was boring. Baobhan said to Morgan as she sits down on one of the chairs in the dining hall. Behind her were Melusine and Bargist, who sat down as well. Mother, why can't we destroy the pitiful humans already? Whined Baobhan. The time is yet to come for that, my dearest daughter. Besides, there are still many human snacks I wish to taste before I decide to erase humanity. Phew, Morgan said with a smile, but there is something I wish to discuss with you three about. I think I have an idea about what this is about. Melusine was the one who spoke. Of course you would, Morgan sighed. So it is that time of the decade again? Huh, Melusine mumbled, confirming her suspicion on her highness' attitude. I presume it's happening soon as well. Yes, the annual decade tournament is coming, Morgan said seriously. Everyone looked at her with a serious expression, nodding at each other, and it'll be happening soon. Next month, to be exact. So who shall win this time now? No matter how much, the tie remains unbroken despite all our efforts. Bargist said with a sigh, Kingdom Lefay, 50, Kingdom Pendragon, 50. Morgan frowned as she wrote the score on the whiteboard, snapping her marker in the process at the sight of the trivial score. For 5 centuries, this score has remained unmoving. We'll break that record this time, Morgan said. Meanwhile, the fairy knights can only sweat at their majesty's aura. The area felt heavy and her immense power felt like it was crushing them. Scary how her aura can flare up and in the process reduce things to nothing with ease. What's going on now? Archer Mesley said as he entered the area, out of the kitchen with a tea-draining tray, ignoring the power he feels, despite his body quite shook from the feeling of danger and that he should be wary. Oh, what's this? His voice was smug yet intrigued. Kingdom Pendragon and Kingdom Lefay? Huh? What's the score about? Archer asked, placing the tray down on the table. Walking up to Morgan as he handed her the tea. Thank you, Morgan said as she sensed Archer's presence when he arrived in the room, accepting the tea gladly as she calmed down. Archer went ahead and gave out tea to the rest in the room. having heard them arrive while in the kitchen. Can clean drinks. You sure you're not just a servant? Baoban asked. Taking a sip, she widened her eyes. The other two fairy knights widened their eyes as they took a sip. Amazing, was everyone's thoughts. You keep surprising me, Arch. You even managed to get my knights to react to such delicious taste. Morgan replied, Archer can't help but feel pride. The decade-long wait has finally returned. 500 years ago, both kingdoms agreed upon forming a tournament that will arrive each decade. Next month marks the passing decade, and who will win this time around? Will the humans will, my sister's kingdom, or will my kingdom win, that of the demon lord's army, who shall prevail, or will a draw appear once again? 500 years, Archer mumbled with shock, looking at the scoreboard with sweat. Tournaments that existed for 5 whole centuries. How the world remains not destroyed is something even he doesn't know. He was sure, knowing how their rivalry is, they would argue on who won or that it shouldn't be a tie. Please don't get him involved in this tournament. I have a plan. Maybe we can twist this whole tournament around and win, Morgan said with a low voice. Her hands clenched together. For our enemy does not know about you, Archer, to my sister and her knights, you will be an unknown enigma. They won't know how to counter you at first. That can help us. Your projection will be useful for sure. The infinite mana source from me will allow you to go all out, Morgan said, her iris glowing with a faint dark blue glow. That's right. The mana that Morgan possesses can be considered infinite, as if she had the Holy Grail herself. But who is to say that her sister does not possess the same nearly infinite mana source as Morgan? Sigh. Just great. Archer wanted to cry. Life is unfair.